infantrymen. And Scott, good to have you with us to give us some insight.
Thank you, Matt and Megan. Appreciate the invite.
Bump stock. We'd never heard of it before till this week. What is it?
I've been a shooter for 42 of my 49 years, and I had never heard of it either. I'd heard of it by a couple other names, but essentially it's a mechanical device that depresses a trigger on a semi-automatic firearm and uses the firearm's recoil mechanism to play back and forth at rapid succession and literally bump the stock of the rifle off your shoulder to, in effect, simulate fully automatic fire somewhere north of 300 rounds a minute.
Scott, when you hear that the NRA wants a review of these bump stocks, do you see that as sort of an olive branch to the other side, that, you know, we may meet you halfway to try to get some kind of gun control legislation?
Megan, for all the speculation on the NRA and what it is and what it isn't, it is the legal and most prominent representative of firearms owners in America. And I don't think it's an olive branch. I think it's, as they do for all things, a respectful, fact-based review of what are we facing and what role does it have within the Second Amendment rights of American citizens. And I think they see something here that frankly games the system and changes the classification of a semi-automatic firearm to a fully automatic, and that's a big jump in how things are regulated, who's allowed to have it, what the cost associated with, and what even the constitutional standing is.
Do you see anything else within what we know so far about Stephen Paddock and his assault that could have been likely prevented if the laws were different on a legal basis? So far, they're saying everything he did was actually legal, at least in Nevada.
It has been. He passed all the proper background checks. He bought legal firearms. He bought ammunition as anybody would. Everything he did was legal, but just like the guy that you know, buys a Lamborghini and has 10 drinks, takes a highly sophisticated piece of machinery, combines it with bad behavior, and you have a disaster on your hands. But as far as we can tell, just about everything up until the point of him committing an atrocious mass murder was legally obtained and legally conducted.
Scott, as you know, this debate about gun control is one that people are very passionate about on both sides of the issue. Do you see a time where people can sort of come to the middle and find some place where both sides are happy?
Well, it's a tough one because firearms owners like myself, we're technically proficient. We know what we're talking about. We've spent plenty of time on the range or a field. Or in the military, we know guns. I find a lot of the people that are opposed to firearms or want strict regulations, oftentimes when I first ask them, have you ever fired a gun before? More often than not, the answer is no. So it's very passionate, it's heartfelt. I don't discount the passion behind it, but I do question sometimes how much factual information they have. So if we can have a civil discussion, and I make this offer all the time to people that have never fired a gun before, I'll take you to the range. If you want to decide for yourself, I won't influence how you feel on this, but let me at least put you through the experience and tell me what you think afterwards. I find that a lot of times people's minds change a little bit, or at least they're willing to seek more information and ask questions before they make a judgment on sweeping policy. My concern is every time you talk gun control, you're talking about thousands or millions of law-abiding citizens doing something today that is perfectly legal, passing a law, and then all of a sudden that same activity with no change in behavior is now a criminal act.
Which is similar to the SAFE Act in New York State.
Sure is.
Different elements of that anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Scott Armstrong, for your expertise tonight. We appreciate that.
Thank you.